Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Today we are going to be looking at how to add fractions with unlike denominators. So let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and get started. We've done stuff like this back in 4th grade, so it's a little bit of a review of that information. So if we're going to start with 1/2 plus 2/8. If you remember, right now we can't add them because our denominator, the number on the bottom, is not the same. So what we have to do is we have to be able to make them the same. We're going to find what they have in common by finding the LCM of those two numbers, of 2 and 8. My fast way of finding that match is by skip counting my small number first. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I go until I get to times 5. Then I skip count my big number and I do one at a time, seeing if I can find a match. 8 times 1 is 8. And then right there, all of a sudden, I have my match, my LCM. And why do we need that? That's because that is going to become our new denominator. Remember, denominator means the bottom number. So we're going to take this 8 and we're going to put it on the bottom of both of our fractions. What we're trying to do is create new equivalent equal fractions so that we can add them. So 1/2. A lot of you already know that if 8 is on the bottom, half of 8 would be 4. So where's that coming from? 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 2 times 4 to get our 8 on the bottom down here. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do the same thing to the top. So 1 times 4 is 4. And as you know, you can see that, and that's already half. 4/8 is the same thing as half. Now we got to find out, how did the 8 change? Well, the 8 actually didn't change at all. It was an 8, and it's still an 8. So how did that happen? That was just by multiplying by 1. Again, whatever we do to the bottom, we do the same thing to the top. 2 times 1 is 2. And now we can add those together. And when we add the top, and we keep the bottom numbers the same. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Our bottom number stays the same as 8. And that is what we call a good answer. It's correct. But there might be a better answer. What we have to do now is we have to find out if we can simplify it. To simplify, we're going to look for the GCF. And we're going to do that in a T-chart. Put 6 on one side, 8 on the other. We're looking for the factors. Up here we did multiples. That's our skip counting. Now we're doing the factors. How do we get 6? We get 6 by multiplying 1 times 6. 2 works. 2 times 3. After 2 is 3. You already have a 3, so you are done with your 6s. Now we try our 8s. 1 times 8. 2 works. 2 times 4. 3 times nothing. 3s don't make an 8. What comes after 3? 4. You already have a 4 right there, so you are done. Now what we have to do is find our matches. They're always going to have a 1 no matter what. Both of those numbers are even. That's why they both have a 2. 6 has a 3 on it. 8 does not. 6 has a 6. 8 does not. 6 does not have a 4 on it, and 6 does not have an 8. So our greatest number that they both have, the greatest common factor that they both have, yes, 8 is big, 6 is big, but they both have a 2. So our GCF is 2. Now that we have our GCF, what do we do with it? We divide the top and the bottom by the GCF, which is 2. So divide the top by 2, divide the bottom by 2. Now here's a super awesome trick for dividing if you do your T-chart. If we look up here and say 6 divided by 2, we can come right down to our chart and say the same thing. 6 divided by 2, what's next to the 2? A 3. So there's our answer. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Same thing down here at the bottom. 8 divided by 2. 8 divided by 2, what's next to the 2? A 4. And then now we have our best simplified answer. All right, so there's one. Let's try one more question and see how we can do on this one. Same thing, still adding. Still have unlike denominators. That means the bottom numbers are different. 3/12 plus 1/3. And we know right now that we can't add those. And if you remember why, it's because the bottom numbers are not the same, the denominator. To make the denominators the same, we want the LCM of those numbers. So we're going to take our 12 and our 3, and we're going to do our skip counter. We're going to look for the LCM. I like to count the small one first, 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. I go to times 5 with my small one. Then I do my big number. The first 12 is 12. And right away, we actually get our LCM. We get our least common multiple. Common means same. These are the multiples. 12 is the littlest one they both have. What do we do with that? That becomes our new denominator. So we know we have to have 12 on the bottom because that's our denominator. But that means our fractions are going to have to change the digits. They're not changing their value. They're going to be equivalent, just in a different style. So it was a 12. How did it get to 12? Well, right here we can see that that 12 only needed times 1. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do the same thing to the top. So 12 times 1 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. The first fraction didn't change. Why? Well, because it already had a 12 on the bottom. But the second fraction is definitely changing. It was a 3. Now it has to get to 12. How'd that happen? Not times 1, not times 2, not times 3, but times 4. 3 times 4 gives us that 12 on the bottom. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do the same thing to the top. 1 times 4 is 4. Now that we have our common denominators, the bottom numbers are the same, now we can add them. We add the top, 3 plus 4 is 7, and our bottom stays the same. Right now we have what is a good answer. We have to try to simplify it. In order to simplify, we find the GCF. So we need our T-chart. 7 is 1 times 7. 2 times nothing. 2's don't make a 7. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3's don't work. 4's don't make a 7. 5's don't make a 7. 6's, they don't make a 7. The only way to get 7 is 1 times 7. That's because it's a prime number. What about 12? 12 is 1 times 12. 2 is going to work because 12 is even, because it ends in a 2. So it's an even number. 2 times 6 works. What comes after 2? A 3. Does 3 make a 12? Yeah, it does. 3 times 4. What comes after 3? 4. You already have 4 on your list, because when we wrote 3 times 4, we're also writing 4 times 3. It's the same thing. So you are done. Now we got to find our matches. What do they both have? They both have a 1. They always have a 1. 7 has a 7. 12 has a 2, a 3, 4. Nope, doesn't have it. So that means 7 is just a 1 and 7, which means there is no 2. There's no 3 on your 7s. There's no 12. There's no 6. And there's no 4. So our GCF equals 1. If the GCF is 1, you're done. See the word 1 and 1? 1 and done. 1 and done. You're done. This is actually your best answer. 7/12 cannot be simplified. So thank you so much for joining today, guys. I hope that this is helpful. And I'll be seeing you again another day. Bye.